This is your boy Leon D, and I'm here to tell you that I'm going to tell you what I know and what I don't know. If I don't know it, I'm going to be honest and tell you about it. But what I do know, I really do know. There are things I'm going to tell you that may apply to you and things I'm going to tell you that may not apply to you. I'm going to tell you things I like and things I don't like. And here's the deal. You can deal with it or you can let it go. It don't matter to me, but I'm going to tell you about it anyway. What we talk about in this video is food. We talk about a lot of food. Now, let's get to the show. I want to bring something to your attention. It is barbecue season, people. It is barbecue season. It's almost Easter, and that's when everybody barbecue. Let me tell you what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about grills and smokers. I've owned probably about 15 of them, but if you look at the video, you're going to see I bought 2 this week. I bought an Ironwood by Traeger. I bought the XL. And then also, I bought the Timberline 1300. Now, you're going to ask me, why did I buy 2 of them in 1 week? Well, I got news for you, but I'm going to get down to it in a minute. I also purchased a 3rd one that should be here this week. And I'm going to tell you which one that is. And I'm going to tell you why I bought a 3rd one and why I bought the one I bought. Now, the Ironwood is a beast. It is just a flat out beast. If you have never owned a Traeger and you can afford it, get the Ironwood for your first one. Now, I usually smoke on my Pro 34. Now, you got the Pro 34 and the 780 Pro. Now, the 780 is Wi-Fi. They call it Wi-Fi by Traeger, but it's Wi-Fi. I don't really need a lot of that, but it's nice to have all that stuff, but I'm not the kind of person who starts my food and goes somewhere else. Now, I can start my food and do other things, but I don't leave my house. Now, I've owned a Masterbuilt 1050 piece of junk. You're going to get 3 years out of it, and then you're going to regret it because it's not going to function right. You're going to have problems. And see, one of the reasons I like Traeger, because if you need a replacement part, there are so many third parties that makes replacement parts for Traeger, for all the Traegers. You name a Traeger, there's somebody who makes a replacement part. So that's one reason I like Traeger. But not only that, I've had them for years and never really had a problem with them. And the problem you have with them, you can fix yourself. You can fix the auger. You can fix almost everything yourself. Now, the cheaper Pro models, the 34, 22, and the 780s and all of them, they do the job. They do a very, very good job, and they're gonna last you many, many years. They will last you until your kids are out of the house. If your kid's not even born yet, they're gonna last you a long time. But also, Traeger invented the pellet, and they stay at the forefront. Now, I had a Camp Chef. Now, that thing worked great. But if the weather varied, you had to do some work. In other words, and the one I had from Camp Chef was the Camp Chef XL. It was a stacker. I can put a lot of food on it. It had about 24 square inches of a rack space, and I loved it to death. But I sold it. I sold it because the doors on it was so thin. If you get your temperature where you want it at, here's the problem. You open the door, you close it back, it's going to take you 10 or 15 minutes to get it back to where you had it at. And I just really got tired of that because, if it's cold or under 50 degrees, it's not designed to be used. Now, if it's 80 degrees, it's perfect. It's perfect. But it wasn't well built, as in thickness of the doors, and a lot of pieces started like coming off. But I sold it. I repaired it and I sold it. Now, you go out and you get the Ironwood, that's a beast. The Ironwood XL, oh, you got lots of rack space. You got about 950 inches of rack space. It really is a beast. But also, I bought the Timberline. The Timberline 1300 is the beast of beasts. It is the beast of beasts. That's what just what it is. Now, I got the Ironwood and I paid the regular price. I paid $1,900. And so I'm totally happy. It's heavy as hell. It's about 240 pounds. Carrying up steps to the deck is no easy feat. And because it's so long in length, your deck got to be damn near straight. Any turns or bends is gonna be a problem. I brought it through my front door, and I got a huge house. And of course, I got brand new floors in the house that I wasn't gonna mess up. If not, I'd be divorced. But so bought it, set it up. Oh man, love it to death. Then where I bought it at, the guy called me and said, "Hey, I got a Timberline 1300. You can see it in the video here." And the Timberline 1300, I'm like, okay. He said, "I'll make you a deal. This one, I got in the store, had it for a while, and I already knew that the Timberline 1300 was going out. I knew that was an outgoing Traeger model. And he said, I got one left, brand new. I'll sell it to you for $1,600. And then I found out when I went to go pick it up, he had about 5 more back there, the Timberline 1300s, but also he had a whole large crate full of Timberline XLs. But the XL is not what I wanted, because I'm thinking I got the 1300 for half the price of the XL. Now, let me tell you about the Timberline 1300. It's got a lot of space. It's got 1,300 inches, maybe a little more, of rack space. But that's kind of deceiving, though. That's very deceiving, because you got the third row. That's about 350 inches. I'm not going to use that. I'm not going to use that third row. And I'm going to tell you why I'm not going to use that third row. I don't let chicken drop onto pork. In other words, if I got pork on the bottom, I'm going to put pork at the top. That's why I got multiple grills. In the pictures, you'll see that I have the Pro 34, I have the Ironwood, I have the Timberline. And also I have a Weber in the background. But that's for flash cooking, though. And that's more like for the wife. But when it comes for smoking and slow cook, I use my Traegers. Now, I've had a lot of different ones over the years, not Traegers, but other types, including Traegers, that I wasn't too happy with. I like the Traegers because you can set them and you can leave. But back to the Timberline. The Timberline, he made me a hell of a deal. So I bought the XL, I bought the Ironwood XL on Tuesday and bought the Timberline on Thursday when he called me. Now, the Timberline is pretty as hell. Like I said, that's the beast of the beasts. Now, I said earlier that I bought a third one. And I'm going to tell you the thing I like. The third one was a Traeger Ironwood XL. That's going to be delivered in a couple of days. I knew I wanted 3, and maybe I might get a 4th one. I don't know. But I debated between the Ironwood XL and the Timberline 1300. And like I said, once you take out the third row of the Timberline 1300, you got about the same amount of space that you got in the Ironwood XL. Now, in the Ironwood XL, they advertise that you can do like 16 racks of ribs. That's a lie. That's a flat out lie. If you get 9 racks of ribs in there, you're lucky. But I wanted a lot of smoking space, so that's why I went to the Timberline. And then when I realized on the Timberline that I was going to take the third row out, I really had an XL. There are no functions that I can get with the Timberline that I can't get with the Ironwood XL. So that's the reason I bought another Ironwood XL, because every function I had on this state-of-the-art, top-of-the-line Timberline, the outgoing model, is on the Ironwood XL. There are absolutely no differences. The only difference is on the Timberline XL, the very new models, you really buying a kitchen. You got the same thing there that you got in your kitchen. So if you want to put a kitchen on your deck, get the Timberline XL. But if you want to get the best bang for the buck at probably 55-60% of the price of a Timberline, get the Ironwood XL. That's a lot better deal for the money. I looked through all the features, and the features that are different are things you're not going to use. You're not going to use those things. You can super smoke on both of them. Whatever I can do in the Timberline, even the new XL, I can do on the Ironwood for a hell of a lot less money. And now, if you're new to smoking and stuff, I tell everybody, nothing like putting down the cover of the grill and just walk away, set the timer, come back, and the food is where you think it ought to be. That is the beauty of buying these high, expensive Traegers. Now, don't get me wrong, $2,000 and $1,600 and all this, that's not easy money for a lot of people. But if you're a barbecueologist, you buy what you want to buy, when you want to buy it, how you want to buy it. My advice to anybody, when you're looking at smokers and grills, do not have your wife with you. Ain't nothing good is going to come out of this. If you take your wife with you, ain't nothing good is in it for you. Because she thinking, why spend all this money on a smoker or a grill when I got an oven in there that can do the same thing? That's what she thinking. But you tell yourself this right here. If you see an oven smoking, you got problems. You need to call the fire department. If you see an oven smoking, you need to call the fire department. But if you see a smoker smoking, you in heaven. You are in heaven. That is the difference. But your wife is going to think, I can go to Home Depot and get a stove and get all this and all that and get an oven and all the other kind of stuff for $700, maybe $500 if you go to Walmart. Who knows, But ain't nothing like looking through your neighborhood. You see smoke in the middle of the summer, you know it's not a chimney. You know that is some food that's really going to be good when it finishes. You already know that. So, my whole point is that I got the Ironwood XL. I'm going to have two of them, one Timberline, a Pro 34. And now that's a huge leap from a Pro 34 to an Ironwood or a Timberline. But I knew 3 years ago I was going to make this jump. So it's not like it was something brand new. I knew 3 years ago I was going to make this leap. And now I have those two, with the third one being delivered. I'm now looking at getting another Ironwood. You can cook a lot of food on 3 Ironwoods. You can cook a lot of food on 1 Timberline. But you're going to pay another $1,400 plus taxes more for the Timberline than you would for the Ironwood with the same amount of cooking space. And some people, because see, I generally like to have my chicken on the grill on one smoker, my pork on a different smoker, my fish and beef on a different smoker. That's how I operate. That's me. Some people throw it all in the same spaces. I don't really want my fish taken like ribs. I don't want my ribs with chicken juice on them. That's just me. Because I can work hard to buy what I want to buy. I can work hard to make that happen. Plus, when you look at a deck, when you look at a 16 by 36 deck, and you got a grill farm, that's a pretty sight. That's a very, very pretty sight. That gets anybody excited because you're thinking, oh, this is heaven. And then, of course, I don't care about being the neighborhood, what do you want to call it? I'm the grill master. Don't get that wrong. But I don't care about being the neighborhood go-to house whenever we want to barbecue. Because to be honest about it, I don't like people being in my house. And when I'm cooking food, I really hate you being in my house. I really hate you being in my house. I don't want to talk. I don't want to converse. Now, when all the food is done, we can do all that. That's why if I tell you come at my house at 3 o'clock, I know the food is done at 1 o'clock. Don't just show up, because, especially if you haven't been invited, because I'm not going to answer the door. I got enough cameras around here, security cameras. I don't know who you are. If I do, I didn't invite you at this time, because I'm going to invite those who I want to be at this time. And I'm going to make sure I got plenty of time for me to do what I need to do. And then I'm going to sit there and I'm going to let the food cool off, because a lot of people, well, at least my friends, they walk in here, they're ready to eat. You tell them 2 o'clock, they want to eat at 2:01. They didn't come here at 2 o'clock to eat at 4 o'clock. No, 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 no. Nobody I know is like that. No, they want to walk in the door eating. They want to say, walk in the door, give me a plate. I know all the size, everything's done. So I bought these grills, but let me tell you something about the Timberline that I do like. And with the Ironwood, they have this heat deflector where it warms up the entire cooking space to the same degrees. I didn't believe it until I tested it. I took a thermometer on the very far left. I set my temperature on my smoker to 350 degrees. On the very left, I took a thermometer. It was 325 degrees. I went to the extreme right. I put the thermometer there. It was 325 degrees. There's no smoker in the world that does that, where the entire smoker is the same degree. I don't care if it's 25 degrees off. I don't care if it's 50 degrees off. As long as from left to right and in the middle is the exact same temperature. That heat deflector is a game changer, because you know what? It's no longer moving meat from the left to the right. You know, you don't have to do anything. You don't have to do none of that anymore. They're gonna start the same time. They're gonna get finished the same time. No matter where you put the food at on that grill, everything is gonna be smoking and finishing the same time. Now, when I went to the second level on both of them, they were only 15 degrees. You know, I did the exact same thing, left, middle, and right. They were only 15 degrees different on the second row versus the first row. How in the hell that's possible when I had the second row covered by the first row? There was not a lot of space for heat for the first row. Not a lot of space, I don't mean that. What I mean that there's not a lot of room for heat to go up to the second row. But the way the induction work, it circulates from top down. That was awesome. So I can put on 9 racks of ribs, start them, and they're all done the exact same time. And the one thing that you're gonna love, that super slow smoke mode. Oh man, boy, that's the game changer there. I had a brisket blacker than ink. I'm talking about, it was so black I couldn't believe it, because I left it on slow smoke for almost 10 hours. I'm just experimenting, but I left for 10 hours and it looked like oil. It was so black. It looked like oil. I had something that's new. So I'm gonna experiment around with these grills. But to be honest about it, to beat Traeger, everybody else got to just step their game up. I just don't see the leaps and bounds. And Traeger, don't get me wrong, they do charge you a premium. But when you're the best in the business, you can charge more, because if people want the best, they know they got to pay more. I mean, you think about it. A Cadillac Escalade don't cost what a Volkswagen costs. A Volkswagen's a lot cheaper for a reason. But you talking about a beast, and it is so thick, the structure of it, and 99% of the time, when something is made damn near out of steel and it's heavy, it's well constructed. I didn't see no gaps of space between any of the bolts or screws, and believe me, for that kind of money, I was looking for something to be wrong. I mean, looking. Now both of the Traegers are loaded with electronics, and I've never had a grill walk me through the seasoning process. Basically, you plug it in, and it tells you everything to do. You don't have to put any brain power to it. So if you're totally stupid, like a lot of people are, buy yourself a Traeger and let the Traeger do all the work. Don't try, you can take credit for it like a lot of people do, but don't sit out there and try and do things. Let the Traeger do all the work. Sit back and just relax. The Traeger will make your food good. And even no matter how bad you are, how terrible you are, those Traegers will make your food taste good. Because I saw a neighbor of mine and he can't cook for shit. But when I saw the finished product, I really thought that maybe he stole some of my food and put it on his plate. That's what I really thought, But that wasn't it. He actually bought a Traeger too. So check out the Ironwood XL, the Timberline. And I tell you this, I would definitely go with the Ironwood XL. Save your money, because with the Timberline, I feel like all you paying for is an extra 350 square inches on the third row that you're not going to use. I mean, that's just what it is. But everybody sell parts for Traegers. So do yourself a favor and get yourself a Traeger. This is your boy DJ Leon D. I'm out to the next episode.